What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Nothing is as easy to enjoy as a Sunday full of football and a fridge full of beer, but these are the games we're locking in on. And before we get to them, that was the definitive interview with Amon-Ra St. Brown. You can watch the full thing on the NFL on NBC YouTube channel.
That's right. Right. Just, you know what you ought to do? What we would love you to do. Pop open an ice-cold Bud Light, turn on YouTube, watch the entire thing. There you go. Like that. That's also easy to enjoy. Just, glug with a Bud Light while you're watching me interview the entire Amon-Ra St. Brown interview, the definitive Amon-Ra St. Brown interview. All other interviews after this of Amon-Ra St. Brown are irrelevant because we got to the essence of the man.
Denny's first time up at the Fantasy Football Happy Hour bar for What's on Tap.
And welcome, dude.
We will start with the Lions at Chargers. The Chargers are favored by 3 points in this game. The over-under is set at 48.5. That is the highest of the week. Denny, I'll start with you. How do you see the Lions' backfield playing out with the return of David Montgomery? Jahmyr Gibbs owners kind of shiver when they hear that.
Yes, and I think that this might be a situation like I referred to earlier in Chicago, where Foreman has performed so well in Herbert's absence that he could maintain a role. I think Gibbs has shown what he can do to the extent that he's not going to go back to that. We're not going to go back to that like 70-30 split between him and Montgomery. I think it'll be maybe more like 60-40, maybe even like 55-45. But the thing is, David Montgomery will still see the red zone action, will still see the goal line carries. So Gibbs will have to score on longer runs, honestly, to get there for fantasy. They're both startable, especially in this game. But Gibbs obviously takes a major hit with Montgomery coming back.
I have Montgomery ranked higher than Gibbs, to your point, but
right.
I have him at 16 and 18. So I have both guys as top 20 guys, and I think you're right. Look, the fact is that Dave Montgomery played over 70% of the snaps in every single game this season. Week 1, weeks 4 and 5. That every full game this season. The games that he didn't leave early due to injury, and at least 20 touches in each one of those games. Okay, but Jahmyr Gibbs, to your point, like you can't put that genie back in the bottle.
No.
I also think Dan Campbell is kind of an old school coach. Like, we play our guys, we play our veterans. I want to go into the middle. And I think these two quotes are really telling from Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator. First off, he said, quote, this is Ben Johnson now, looking forward to getting Gibbs and Monty both their fair load of touches. They both have proven worthy of it. And then he added, quote, I think both these guys are within those top 11 players that we have on offense, so there's a strong argument to get both of them out there together more often. So we like Ben Johnson as an offense coordinator. He is very creative. You could see them now, I've got a new toy to play with a little bit now that Gibbs has proven he can handle a big workload, and you got Monty back healthy. The fact is that for our purposes, if you have one of them, you're starting them.
Detroit is a massively run-heavy offense.
Yes.
I think that's something that's kind of gotten lost in the season, is that they're not balanced, they're not pass-heavy. They're a team that wants to establish it and establish it as hard and for as long as possible. I think Montgomery and Gibbs could see, 15 touches against the Chargers.
Yeah, I think they both do, but I agree with you, but like who's got the better chance of getting into the end zone? It's Dave Montgomery.
Our next game, Texans at Bengals. The Bengals are favored by 6.5 points. The over-under just 2 points shy of Lions Chargers. This is at 46.5. Now, Denny, I know you write the funnel report on NBCSports.com, basically looking at where an offense is funneled through, where it should be through, and we start this one with: is either Texans running back worth starting when we've seen how pass happy the Texans offense are going into a matchup that maybe you're looking at it and saying they should be pass happy in this matchup?
Yes. So Devin Singletary last week with Dameon Pierce out, and by the way, Dameon Pierce looks like he's going to be out again this week.
Nico Collins too, by the way. Why
well,
we've been
neither
taping
of them
the show.
spotted at practice today, Friday. That came in just over the commercial break.
And
so
I would be shocked if Pierce suited up. So Singletary will again be the RB1 here. He had 15 touches last week. It's hard to find 15 touches on your waiver wire. So
can you feed your family on those touches?
No, you can't.
Oh, interesting.
You get 25 yards.
Only Scott Fishbowl.
And
I'm not kidding.
Yeah. So
don't get me started on Fishbowl.
I was actually shocked to see Singletary saw that sort of workload.
Yeah.
That's good, I guess, but he's really still a desperation option. The Bengals are a pass funnel defense. They have been all season. Teams really attack them through the air. I think we could get another 40-plus dropbacks for Stroud in this game.
Since week 6, the Bengals are the 7th best run defense in the NFL. To your point, they are a pass funnel defense, so you need to get there. Again, Nico Collins not spotted at practice today, so I think this is a big Tank Dell game. this week. You'll see some Dalton Schultz, maybe some Noah Brown. Does John Mechie get in the mix? Do they bring back Robert Woods? So we'll see there. But Tank Dell and Dalton Schultz both top plays for me this week. Schultz has a 28% target share since week 5. It's worth noting the Bengals bottom 3 in the NFL in terms of most yards allowed to opposing tight ends. We saw Dalton Kincaid have a monster game against the Bengals last week as well. So I think Schultz, who's been a big target for C.J. Stroud, should have another big game, especially if Nico Collins is out and or limited.
Bengals, real quick on that note, have struggled against the slot. And so you have Schultz and you have Noah Brown primarily playing the slot for Houston.
Yeah, so Noah Brown, an interesting punt play this week.
Our final game here, the Niners, they're 3-point favorites at Jacksonville. The over-under is set at 45. And Matthew, let's get into really the nuts and bolts of this one. In Deebo Samuel's return, does he instantly go back to must-start status?
I'm at wide receiver 13.
That tells you by far,
unless you have all 12 of my guys, probably you're putting them right back in there. Like all 3 games that he's run at least 20 routes this season, which is, his healthiest games, 25% target share. Jacksonville, since week 5, giving up the 4th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. The only issue with Deebo being back is that doesn't help Ayuk or George Kittle. Specifically to George Kittle. Like without Deebo this season, he's got 5% higher target share. He averages over 1.5 fantasy points per game, 11.3 to 12.7 with Deebo versus without. And then Brandon Ayuk, without Deebo this season, weirdly, he's actually been better. Without Deebo this season, he's averaging 12 points a game. With Deebo, 17.7. So weirdly, Deebo takes attention away. So you're still starting Ayuk, who's my wide receiver 6 this week. You're obviously still starting Kittle because it's Kittle and it's tight end. But I do think having Deebo back hurts the upside of Kittle.
Absolutely, yeah. Kittle, it's a boom-bust situation. You're hoping for a touchdown.
Yeah, which unfortunately with a lot of tight ends, that's where we've gotten.
Aren't we all? Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com. And I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched. Or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.